Hello, YouTube. This is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another video. And the title of this video is Your Mother, Passport Bro, is upset that you married a foreign woman and that you didn't marry a woman from your own country. And the way this came about was actually was listening to another YouTuber. And he was discussing a study that took place in Sweden that talked about, you know, they talked about Sweden being a country with the highest percentage of, having the highest percentage of Thai brides. And he was saying that the government was making well, some of the feminists anyway, making a big deal because, to some degree they were saying they felt like the Thai woman would be replacing a lot of the Swedish citizens. So it got me thinking about the fact that in some cases, for a lot of the passport bros, including myself, sometimes some family members don't necessarily agree with you going out of the country and marrying a foreign woman and bringing her back to the country. In many cases, now I'm kind of what's the word? Kind of nonchalant about it. Like, it doesn't even really affect me anymore. But I do remember when I was thinking about it, like when I originally was considering going out of the country to meet somebody. Like, currently right now I have a girlfriend. So when I was initially thinking about it, I was always thinking about, when I finally revealed to my mother or some of my friends that I actually met a girl out of the country and I'm getting very serious with her. I was kind of thinking about what their response would kind of be. And I remember once I was talking to one of my male friends, and pretty much I have a group of friends I hang out with, and there's a female within our group that we hang out with, and she was having a hard time finding like a husband. And so anyway, I just kind of casually brought up the idea of, like, since she travels a lot, I was like, maybe when you travel down to Jamaica, maybe you might meet somebody there or something like that. And the thing about it was, both her and one of my male friends, they looked at me very crazy. They thought it was a very extreme type of thing to do. And the reason for that, they felt like there's so many people in the United States. Why wouldn't somebody just be able to find a spouse or girlfriend in the United States? And my whole thing was that shocked me was the fact that, not so much that, that they wanted to find someone here, but it's just the fact that they thought it was such an extreme idea to go outside of the country and find someone. Because a lot of them, I hate to say that, it's some people in the United States that, like, put it this way, some men in general that would like to go out of the country and probably find a wife, but I think they're worried about the stigma that's attached to dating a woman outside of the country. Because a lot of times what they try to say is, oh, you just married a male or a bride, or you paid for your wife. Or in extreme cases, oh, this is just a woman in survival mode and you took advantage of her. One of those type of things. So, for some reason, there's like a stigma that, some people want to attach to people who deal with women outside of the country, as if, we were not able to, date some of the women in this country, within our countries, or we're like incels, or, something to that magnitude or something like that. And the thing about it is, as I said it before, myself, and I'm sure many of the people listening now, many of us, for the most part, have done at least decent with some of the females here. It's not like if we really wanted to toughen it out and do it. But my whole thing is, in many cases, when dealing with some of the women here, a lot of times there's always this struggle in the relationship. A lot of times it's like, the woman is always trying to compete with me to kind of have, control of the relationship. And I find myself a lot of times, there's a thing called a S test or a piss test. A lot of times the woman is giving me a piss test consistently, doing things just to kind of try me, just to see if I'll be, I guess, man enough to tell her, don't go out to a club, or, just almost like she knows she shouldn't be doing certain stuff, but she's still trying to find a reason to, I guess, see if I'm man enough to kind of call her out on her mess. So even though, like, sometimes I would get some of the girls, I feel like there's always that situation there. There's always that power dynamic there where the woman is constantly testing me, and I see this, and in many cases, when you fail a lot of those tests, what happens is a lot of times the women wind up either losing attraction to you, and eventually trying to move on to a guy who's quote unquote more, I guess, more macho or more bad boy like, that kind of thing. Even though during this phase when this was happening, I would say I was more like somewhat blue pill, almost like a simp, pretty much. I just kind of, at that time, because this is when I was younger, like right after college, I would say I was more on the end of just trying to do whatever to a certain degree, almost making a woman somewhat like the center of my life, trying to do things to make her happy, and a lot of times, it's almost like, in many cases, I'm always looking for her approval. In many cases, it wasn't until later on when I was working at a McDonald's, and the McDonald's I worked at in Florida, there were a lot of there were actually some immigrant women there from Peru, Brazil, and Ecuador. And they're like fresh off the boat and they were working there. Some of them, of course, were like, I found out later, were illegal. But the whole point is, when I was with them, just having regular conversations with them, it's almost like it was very natural. And even then, like sometimes when I would go out, they would try to, hang out with me on the weekend and say, hey, we want to go out to the mall. Would you like to come? They're inviting me, out to go hang out with them. The only way I gotta explain it, it's just like, and then when I would hang out with them, sometimes it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like it was very natural to fall into like a masculine frame. I didn't feel like majority of the time they were constantly testing me, trying to play this game. Like, I didn't have to be macho around them. I didn't have to do any PUA type stuff. I could just kind of be myself around them. And in many of them, I actually, many of them have, wound up, casually dating some of them. It's just like, that's what that's the only way I could kind of explain it. I just put it this way. I just instantly knew there was a difference when I started dealing with them. I could just tell, like, conversation is very easy. It was a flow. I wasn't constantly thinking about, oh, don't talk about, sometimes when you're dealing with some women, you kind of think about stuff like, oh, don't bring up, stuff about your ex. Don't talk about this. She might think you're lame. But with them, it was just free flowing. And it never got to a point where I felt like, some of the ones I was, because some of them have, boyfriends and that kind of thing. But then the ones that were single, I never really felt like, I was just sliding into the friend zone as the woman was getting more and more comfortable for me. I didn't have to put up a front, I don't know. It was just different. So from that point on, I just instantly knew that I had to go travel and try to see the world and try to see how women were in different countries after that once instance. And then even one of the girls, she actually invited me to go back with her back home because she was going to visit her family, and I told her I wanted to travel. So she actually took me to Ecuador. And when I got down there and I met some of her cousins and I met some of the girls down there, I could just instantly tell it was almost like night and day. The women were just so approachable. When I walked up to talk to them, asked for direction, they never felt threatened. It wasn't like, ugh, like, who's this guy approaching me? It was never that kind of vibe. It was never like here in the States where it's almost like sexual harassment. There, it was just very it's almost like they didn't mind you approaching them. Even in many cases, if they weren't interested, the majority of the time they did it in a very polite manner. So I could just tell it was instantly different. After that, I just really wanted to travel, and I just kind of knew that to me it was more of the best option. But my at that time my issue was I was worried a little bit about the stigma of people trying to say, oh, you married a mail order bride, or you're trying to you only over there to take advantage of the women because they're struggling and, all this kind of stuff. But as I got older, I just kind of got to a point where I said, I have to do what makes me happy at the end of the day. It kind of goes back to what I hear people say sometimes when you have people who buy a whole bunch of stuff that they can't afford. A lot of times you're buying it to show off the people who really don't care that much about you. So at the end of the day, when people are saying these things, I always just kind of think like, do they have my best interest at heart? Like, what is the reason they're doing this? And sometimes what you'll find out, right now we're in this passport bro versus dating coaches type of era. And in many cases, it's because I kind of suspect that some of the dating coaches, it's like they really want to, but I just think that because of their pride, they don't want to deal with someone, I guess saying they took the easy route or making them feel like they didn't have game, so they had to resort to going overseas. I just got to a point now where it's almost like I actually don't even care. If they want to feel like I don't have game or it was because I didn't have social skills or something like that. I mean, for the most part, I feel like they're free to believe that. I mean, that's nothing is further from the truth. I mean, that's like it's like it's a very poor talking point. I'll put it that way. So I would just encourage anyone that's listening to just don't worry about what your family members are going to say. Don't worry about what some of your friends here are saying that don't want to travel, who look down on it, because I promise you, once you go to these countries, for example, Colombia, Brazil, Philippines, Ecuador, Peru, and you just interact with some of the women, I could tell you it's going to be definitely worth it. And you're going to say, Passport Bro Wingman, you were definitely right about this. And I don't think you're going to have any regrets after you deal with some of the women and you date them. You're going to see that the way they treat you is, in many cases, superb to the way that some of the women in the States treat you. The women in the States, even some of the ones that are not that attractive, they kind of treat you like, I could do without, But in these other countries, the women are just very warm and very feminine, and they bring a lot of value, and you'll be surprised at kind of, how they take care of you. They'll cook for you. They'll clean for you. I have, like, my girl in general, like, she does things for me, like she buys me gifts and stuff like that. I don't ask her to do it. She just likes to go about and, she asks me what kind of shirts I wear, and she buys, gifts for me, and, she cooks meals for me when I come to visit. So it's just, I never really got that treatment when I was here. A lot of times, if you try to tell a woman to cook in the States, it's like, cook 50-50. You got hands, you can cook. It's kind of on that tip, with some of the women here. So, all I can say is, as they say, don't bite it until you try it. So I would say just give it a try. If you're struggling to make that move, to pull that trigger, I challenge you, just take that move, take that big step out, travel. Don't let anything anybody's saying kind of stop you from traveling and meeting the type of woman that you would like to meet. I promise you won't be disappointed. The women in these countries, they're beautiful, they're warm. You definitely won't be disappointed. Don't let anyone deter you from finding the type of woman that will truly make you happy and give you a happy marriage. As I stated before, the marriage rate of an American man marrying a American woman is only about 52%. The marriage rate, success rate for American man or Western man, for that matter, whether you in the UK, Canada, marrying a foreign woman, is about 80%. It's 80% success rate. It's very, very, very high. So I don't want to keep this video too long. Just tell me what you think in the comment section. Leave your comments. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. And until next time, this is the Passport Bro Wingman signing off. Thank you.